Veragata Heights or Hyundai. That's where everybody goes.
Right, yeah.
Oh, wait,
933.
Mary's got some inside tips. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary
Where's the
Rhodes.
best place to go trick-or-treating?
Well, we grew up going to Auntie Rosie's Cambaleri's house in Nimitz Hill before it became really popular.
I've been in
So
Nimitz
we
Hill.
always grew up in Nimitz with around the Scambaleri's house.
And there's a reason they call it the hill. I mean, just going through like the residential area. I mean, you're gonna get candy. You're gonna get a workout.
You definitely burn the candy off, right? For real.
Yeah.
Well, hi, Mary. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We're good. You look
As
great.
good as can be, right? As good as can be.
Right on. Well, thanks for coming on. We did want to bring you on because it's been a minute since you came on the show, and just wanted to kind of stick our finger in the air and find out what you're working on over there. Because I know when we don't hear from Mary Rhodes at GHRA, there's some stuff going on. So what's going on?
She's always working.
Right.
Well, the last couple of weeks, we've really been focusing on getting everybody geared up with either vaccinations or the testings to be in compliance. We have worked with several GovQuam agencies, autonomous agencies, not line, but also private sector companies to get trained. So I do want to give a shout out to the public health lab staff. They've been really great at getting everybody trained, certified, and then materials out to those businesses and agencies who aren't required by law. Some agencies and private sector companies aren't required by law to do this, and they just kind of felt it was important that they also do it. So it's out there, but really, our testing site has ramped down because there isn't a huge demand. We've had no more than 30 people go to our sites at the hotel. And so we're just informing everybody where the weekly testing sites are. And I've been working with, Crystal getting that information out. But really our focus also the last 3 weeks has been working with GHRA and talking to GBB about getting funding for our industry stakeholders now that GHRA is closing out soon their last grant. Please know that there are still monies available through that small business grant. And so there's quite a bit of money still available, and it's important that everybody take advantage of that. But we certainly have other programs that we're looking at that is really tourism industry stakeholder related for optional tours, but also restaurants who did not get it funded through the RRF, even some hotel operators who didn't qualify for other grants. And, there's a lot of companies like transportation, retail, rental car companies, even spas, different types of ancillary services too, professional services that directly rely on tourism, right? So there are a lot of businesses that have not either qualified or did not receive full funding with whatever federal, local grants that have been available. So although those grants and programs, loan programs, were really important in the last year, those monies have been exhausted already. And so we really have to think about how are we going to get through this next quarter and start 2022. And I know the last time I was here, we talked about a whole lot of stuff, and Sabrina and I and Chris, we really highlighted all of the things we really should be addressing now, because it takes at least 90 days to get traction on, programs, but also just even with airlines showing interest. And so there's a lot of things we should be really doing the heavy lifting for in order to get traction for 2022. And so, we already know how the forecast is going to be at the end of the year. It's dismal, same as 2022. And so we need to get the assistance to these businesses in various forms, whether it's through direct grant programs and funding, or we need to really talk to the government and the legislature about other programs that should be considered. If they're not going to give the full $75 million, maybe there are things that we can consider as kind of waivers or credits towards something based on their lost revenues. So whatever we end up designing with GHRA and GVB, I think is going to be extremely helpful, extremely beneficial for those businesses to survive this next year. But the most exciting thing, I think, in the last month has been that even Korea has opened up. and Korean nationals, they don't have to quarantine on the way back. They're the first market to do that outside of Taiwan. And so I think that's a glimmer of hope for Guam. But we have to move towards that. We have to really start getting that movement going and start really, talking to the agents, talking to the wholesalers, the airlines, and really start getting plans to really reopen to the Korean market. We have a little bit with that recent flight, but that's only been a very, very small amount. And so there's a lot on the horizon still to do. There's still a lot of work to be done. And so GHRA is focusing really on getting more funding, but also getting programs going for end of the year and the beginning of the year.
You said that we need, I wasn't sure the tense of what you said, but you said we need plans, right? Because 90 days, implement stuff. So I just got to ask the big question, because it seems like we get you on and it's the same thing. We're not planning ahead. I'm trying to get assistance for the businesses, right? So
yes.
What is the issue then? That because we're hearing on our end that I don't know what the governor's doing, but we just hear from a variety of sources that, for example, that economic what's that one group they have, Bree?
The governor?
Yeah, there was a whole I don't know. I'm confused.
Committee on Economic Recovery or something. Do you remember way back?
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a committee or task force, something.
Something on economic.
Yeah, we had economic advisory boards, and then we also had economic advisory working groups.
So I'm not sure which one, but we hear from multiple sources that they haven't met in months, which to me is insane, because that's one of the biggest things the governor talks about, and that's why we're living under these very lax pandemic conditions, is because they talk about the economy.
Yeah. Yeah, the working group has not been meeting, but I do know that she does have an advisor group, and those advisors do meet with her on occasion. I don't know the frequency of that. I'm not part of that group. I'm part of the working group. Sophia and I, GHRA does have a seat at the table with the GVB Recovery Task Force, however, and they just met last week. And so I think it's really twofold. I think that it's the frequency of the meetings, but also the information that's shared at the meetings, right? It's we have to be a lot more proactive and really start planning ahead, like we're talking about. But a lot of it is just dealing with the issue of today, right? So at times it can be reactionary, and it is dealing with time-sensitive information, which I can understand. You can only react to what's happening today, but there also needs to be a group about really planning and adjusting the plan as we deal with real-time situations. And so GHRA and GVB has worked like that in the past, and I know that the Recovery Task Force has addressed these things with Jerry and Sam leading that. So part of that is the stakeholder meeting. We have been meeting with GVB and GITA to move forward. And David John is one of the advisors, and he's the chairman for GITA. So I think that people are having individual discussions or individual group meetings, but there hasn't been one larger plan to really get things going for 2022.
Seems
no,
I
was going to say.
So even me, when I meet with public health, it's always on an individual basis with our organization, with Sophia as my chairperson and myself meeting with public health. It's not always in a larger task force. I have been in task force, but a lot of the last maybe 4 or 5 months have really been more individually led.
I noticed that the Guam Visitors Bureau, they're scheduled to appear before the legislature tomorrow for this informational hearing virtually, right? And so some of the things on the agenda, it says the tourism recovery plan. Did you help, craft this plan? Can you tell us what exactly is in it?
No, Jerry actually released that last year. I know that he's revised it since. So Jerry's always had a recovery plan when COVID first hit. And so we've been asking, let's pull that back out, and let's readdress it, make some adjustments and really identify which markets are reopened to us. And I know that, we did launch with Airbnb with Taiwan as a reopening start. But things have changed with Taiwan and the Airbnb program, right? In Taiwan, you have to quarantine on the way back now. And so that's not really going to work for our Taiwan travelers. So the hearing tomorrow, the plan that Jerry produced is really a GBB plan.
I see. Okay. Also, how is GHRA members doing? I know I've been out maybe once or twice to eat, and
yeah, it's really tough. The other thing that we have been working on for a while now with the Guam Chamber of Commerce is we are part of a Safe Haven program, which has really been in existence for about 1.5 years, and that's with the military and really our military business, our local community, consumers, that is really the market right now, right? We have very few tourists, and even at that, those tourists are still looking for things to do if they are here. And so it is very challenging. But you can only make so much revenue based off of the local community, right? Like on revenues shared. And we've seen that go down because a lot of federal dollars, the PUA program has ended. And so people are, of course, being a lot more conservative with how they're spending their dollars. So that's understandable. But what we have to do is really reshare our messaging and get the information out there of who's currently open, who's operating. Some people have scaled down to just the weekends. They're not operating during the weekdays. So they have limited hours again because of the recent restrictions, right? Yeah. The last month and a half. And so I'm working with the Guam Chamber of Commerce. They do have a committee that is focused on military activity. But what we want to do is really work with Chamber and with Joint Region Marianas. We had a meeting with them, with the new Admiral, and we're going to be putting together a program where, in working with Gita as well, providing like a resource page, whether you're military, tourist, or even local resident, and you want to know, what are the current restrictions, but also what's really out there, what's available, which businesses are open, who's operating. And so we are going to be sharing that information because we really want to remind everybody that all of these businesses are practicing safety and health protocols, and they are, thriving. They're trying to basically survive, right? So there are a lot of things we can do for these businesses to promote them, to really highlight their operational hours, to highlight the fact that they are safe, and hopefully they're all signed up for the WTTC Safe Travels, Guam Safe Certified program that GHRA and GBB launched for businesses to promote themselves as a safe, as part of our safe destination. And so really that's next. That's what GHRA is focusing on, is really helping with rebuilding the economy, get the safe and safe message out there that businesses are all compliant with that and going above and beyond, and really reminding our consumers, whether you're a local resident, a military transfer, or even here only for a short period of time for whatever reasons, if you're a federal contractor or a tourist, that these are the businesses out there in the community, these are their operating hours, and we all encourage everybody to buy local, to support local, and to help rebuild the economy, because at the end of the day, it's going to take all of us to work together. And that's kind of the heart of the message of Pratehi Linalata, is to really protect the stakeholders that have built the tourism industry. But it's not just leisure and business travelers, right? We are all part of the economy. We are all part of the community. And so whether you're a local resident or not, the businesses need the entire community to come together and support each other, because it's extremely challenging. And we just really want to share that message out there that, to support local.
Whatever happened to that QR code thing for the vaccinations?
We launched it on our own with AMC and GHRA. We actually had the Guam National Golf Federation over the weekend, and we did a test site there. We tested players before they went out to play. and we use the system. So it is being used, but only for people who go to our outreach clinics that we're tied in with AMC. Also, AMC clinics, anyone that they've seen on their own without GHRA, they are also using it for that. So GHRA just approved the QR code scanner. So if you don't know, our website, we updated last year. I think I came on and told you guys about that. We updated our website. We now have a mobile app, which is both on iOS, Apple, and Android. And so when you download the GHRA app, whether you're a member or not a member, you can log in as a member or non-member. You can actually use the QR code reader to read the QR codes that we're using here on Guam. And then I also was in Hawaii, as Chris knows. I used my Smart Health Card, which our QR code, we have 2 QR codes. One is for travel, and it's the Smart Health Card, which is accepted nationally as well as internationally by airlines and airports. And so that works in Hawaii, as well as, so we have the Smart Health Card, which is a national program in the US, but then also we have our local events app. QR code. So you'll get 2 QR codes with us, one for travel and one for local events on Guam or dining, or anywhere that you have to show your vaccination card. You can do it without showing your information. It just scans your QR code. It doesn't provide any personal information. It just scans it, and then the vendor who uses it using our QR code or our app can just scan it quickly. It goes away. It's very time sensitive, so nobody keeps the information. And so I know for those who are worried about their information being shared or the vaccination card, being stored somewhere, photocopied, you can easily enter an establishment with our QR code and not have to download it to anybody unless you opt to share it. You can still download your images if you want and share that as a permanent file. But the QR code is meant to be a real efficient, safe way to enter into establishments or for travel.
And is this something that all the members of GHRA have the ability to do the scan when somebody shows up and shows their QR code?
Yeah, we are about 2 weeks away from launching it, actually, for those who want to use it. So our vendor just created it because, we've been working on the QR code itself. And so we needed a vehicle. And we were hoping public health would be the vehicle, but we ended up just building it in our GHRA app. So if you download our GHRA app, it'll just have a QR code scanner. All you have to do is log in, use that. And then, most establishments, most managers on duty have a phone, right? Or a QR code reader or a scanner on the front. Our QR code reader is specifically for our app, though. And so we just moved forward with AMC, and we are going to be launching it for a trial period for free. And we're hoping that the government, hopefully by the holidays, would encourage everybody to go out, and be safe, but still be able to go out and freely share their QR code without having to worry about a vaccination card.
That's awesome. So everybody, go download the GHRA app now,
Yeah.
right? In anticipation of the official launch.
Yeah, and if you need to get your QR code, you can just log on to guamcovid.com. If you were inoculated by AMC at any time, we do have guamcovid.com. You can actually get that, but not everything is live yet. We will be launching it in a couple of weeks, and our QR code reader will be in effect. Now, not every establishment will want to take that because it's going to require, a smartphone to scan it. Some people might still ask for your vaccine card manually. So I encourage everybody just to take a photocopy of it so you're not carrying paper around. You can just show your photocopy as long as you sign in, then you should be fine. But we need to find efficient ways, right? Not just for the individual, but for the establishments, as we are dealing with these restrictions and guidelines. And so our role is really to find easy solutions that can be applied across the board universally, that would be easy for anybody to understand and be able to, use in practice. And so even though the government hasn't bought into this concept, we're still moving forward. And if anybody has any questions, they can contact us at GHRA. and we will help you through this process just like anything else. But we're hoping by the end of the year, if it doesn't get through, and QR codes and vaccine cards are still necessary, then AMC and GHRA will decide how we're going to make this available to the rest of the island, because we do need to work with public health to get access to the information. Otherwise, the alternative route is we just do what GBB did for the sweepstakes, is encouraging everybody just to enter into their information, and then you can get it that way. But that would probably, it would be a nominal fee at that point if you wanted to avail of this service. But for now, we're making it free for GHRA and AMC patients.
I want to go back to how many weeks ago was that where you, GHRA, and I think the chamber, and then I want to say the women's chamber too, came out and said, hey, can we just dial back to 50%?
Oh boy, that was, I want to say, almost 3 months ago. We haven't had any follow-up meetings regarding guidelines, right, and any changes to that. Yeah. And so I think that because of the numbers still, and obviously, I saw the news the other day about the governor not allowing exemptions for fitness centers and the like. I don't know what the target is. So if the target is 90% vaccinated, or because I highly doubt we're going to get to 100%, I think that we need to find a way to move forward, be able to reopen up the community in a safe way, and still be able to work towards getting people vaccinated if that is what they choose to do. But we need to find a way forward. I don't know what that answer is, because we have not had meetings to talk about, possibly changing any of the restrictions or the guidelines lately. But I would hope that, as we are already over, I think, almost 88% fully vaccinated. And I would think that, the goal to get more people vaccinated and the boosters out is being met. And so we need to start having those conversations of whether or not, has that goalpost have we gotten nearer to that, so that we can reopen the economy? Because I think that there are obviously consequences to that, right? So we need to make sure that we can certainly get the community on board, but as well as the businesses. I know you're talking about Halloween, but for us, that's end of the month already. That plan has passed, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
To me, it's end of the year.
Yeah.
And the beginning of the year.
Yes.
When you're really looking at businesses, you want to know what your 60 to 90 day forecast is at least. And hiring is hard right now. That has been one of our biggest challenges, right?
Man,
is hiring if you're going to reopen.
Mary, you should check Gov Guam, because they never stopped hiring. See what their secret is. Yeah.
But I have to say, I have to recognize Darren Talai and his group. I went to the CPK opening last night in Hagåtña, and they spent quite a bit of money to renovate the place. And I went to one of the dining, the opening dinner sets, and it was really good. It's very exciting to see something open up in Hagåtña. And I think that it's going to be a great option, a great product within the capital. And again, it goes back to the message that we hope people feel safe enough to go out, support the local businesses, know that everybody is taking the health and safety protocols extremely seriously. We've had no transmissions within restaurants, and we really want to encourage people to come out and, wear your mask, practice social distancing, wash your hands, and support local, because it's really important that we all are all here for each other, regardless of tourists or military. The local community, we need to be able to come together and support the local businesses who have really invested on Guam and made it their home, whether they're local or not. It doesn't matter. If you are here on Guam paying taxes, we are all residents, and we really need to keep this economy going. Because it's the only, we have to have hope, right? And we have to continue moving forward. And truly, as GHRA, we've done our part. We've done our job the last 18 months, and we would like to see the economy reopen. And so that is the bottom line, is we have to start moving towards that. Because, Chris asked us to send out information that we shared over the weekend with another media outlet. And we will be sending that out as a press release, because I think it's an extremely important message to put out there, is we've done our part for the 18 months, 20 months, and we definitely need to find the way forward. And as private sector, we will continue to lead that way forward. And it is our job to do that. However hard it is our job to continue to, motivate and to get everybody to start looking towards that future, which it could be Halloween. So it's
good luck with that, Mary.
It's daunting, right? When you have to think about, like, I don't know what's happening in 2 weeks. I'm a planner. That stuff stresses me out. I need to know what's going to happen in like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, well, we're flying by the seat of our pants. We don't have a plan for $600 million in ARP. It doesn't look like there's a plan to get out of this surge. I don't know. What we did hear from public health was that we'll know when we're out of the surge when we're down to 25 positive cases a day. Sustained, Your Honor. So.
Yes.
Put that in your pipe.
Yeah,
Mary.
I know. But, we always said in the beginning, right, when you saw those surges happen, it's not 2 weeks. That could take 6 to 8 weeks at least because of the spread, the community spread. And so we are already at that 6-7 week mark, I think. So Halloween would put us right at 8-9 weeks, I think, from the surge with the Delta variant. But, our job is, we can't plan for the next 2 weeks. We have to plan longer. And so I just really want to share that message with everybody, is that's really where GHRA is going to be focusing on in the next, today, like as of 3 weeks ago, we started really, really pressing this. And we met with a lot of the different stakeholders and the agencies, but also, again, with the military, with GBB, GITA, and Guam Chamber of Commerce. We definitely need to start paving that path, because it's the only way out, right? It's the only way out of this, is to continue that forward progress movement.
Man, Mary, a year ago, we were trying to strive for 5, and we were told that we would get Thanksgiving. I remember, it's so ironic because how things have changed, but about a year ago, I put out a video begging people to chill out so that we could have Thanksgiving, and I remember the governor was thanking me, lieutenant governor was thanking me. A little different tone this year, but it looks like we're right back in the same place. So,
well, if you think about it, to me, the science behind a lot of this is, if you look at the States, everywhere else, through the summer, people are doing different things. Yeah. So we're all increasing exposures, whether it's travel, off-island visitors coming, whatever, people coming back home. People are doing more activities during the summer when kids are out of school. Once fall hits, that's your timeline when things start settling and things, that exposure takes place. So it's no surprise to me that we are where we were at last year. But think about where we were at come December, right? And then January, where everything started to loosen up. And so I think that that's just kind of like a cycle, not to apply it to the flu season or anything like that, but there are cycles to this with human behavior. And so we just have to remind each other that we still have to practice the same things. We can't let our guard down. And even though we want to enjoy certain things, like, going off island or do social gatherings, we still have to practice the basics, regardless of where we are or what we're doing. I think if we just kind of kept that mindset, I think we would be better off than where we're at today. And so those are lessons learned. But to me, it's no surprise, even with the Delta variant, it only exacerbated it. But to me, it's kind of the same cycle as last year. So you're absolutely correct, Chris, that, we were in the same boat. But the timeline is the same, too.
Yeah. Well, I guess I better start working on a Thanksgiving video then. Thanks, Mary.
All right. Thanks, you
Bye.
guys.
Take care.
Really appreciate it.
Right on. Esther, be safe. Hey, it's 10:01. We're going to jump over. KUAM, thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Chris.
I'm Sabrina.
Jason Solis has left the building.